Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Geeky Girls Night In. I am Leslie, and I'm currently dealing with a little bit of low blood sugar, but I ate pizza before I came downstairs to my dungeon, so I should be okay. With me tonight is Quinzel. Say hello.
Hi, I'm Quinzel, and you're watching Disney Channel.
Yes! Now you got to do the thing with your finger.
I am. I'm doing it right now.
Perfect. Okay.
We're gonna get sued.
I hope not. We didn't do anything.
No, we don't have any money.
I really don't.
Like Disney.
Didn't your mama ever tell you that a broke hoe is a no-no? All right. So, this has been an interesting week in news for geeks. And I figured the best way to tackle this is from happy, lighthearted, A-okay to what in the hell, who let the door open? So,
who let the door open? Who?
And if it was you, please shut it, because there's just all sorts of craziness coming in, and I don't need that in my life, and neither does anybody else. All right.
You're letting the air out. Close the door.
Yes. So to start it out, well, first off, I have a mug of tea with me. I have my Marauders map mug from Universal Studios, and I have vanilla chai in it because I'm in my dungeon and it's cold in my dungeon when I record. So, are you drinking anything tonight?
You know, I ain't feeling too well, so I am just on that H2O. Is it H2O? Wait,
you got it.
Air? No, air is. Oh wow, yeah.
It's H2O. No. Think about the Water Boy.
Yeah.
Think about the movie Water Boy.
No, just don't think about actual science. Think about a movie with Adam Sandler, and you'll get the correct answer. No, I gotta get my life together.
I mean, the only reason I remember moles from chemistry is that my chemistry teacher, shout out to Mr. Fagan, brought in Beanie Baby moles and threw them at us. So, I mean, he wasn't violent with it. It's just you answered correctly, you got a mole to the head. It's fine. It's fine.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but
moles will walk you upside the head.
Absolutely teach me things.
Yes. So we also made peanut brittle in his class as, the result of a chemical reaction. And for some reason, my peanut brittle came out clear.
Oh.
I remember those things. But I can make peanut brittle now, and it turns out normal. So I don't know.
Oh, but did you die, though?
I did not. I didn't eat it, though, because, we were making peanut brittle in, chemistry class, and chemicals had been in those beakers and stuff. I don't know where that's been. I think we also made cottage cheese as a chemical reaction in his class. And, we all put it in little, Ziploc baggies, and I threw mine in my backpack and forgot it for 2 weeks. Yeah, that was not fun. When I opened up that compartment and it smelled like a gym locker room. It was so bad. Memories. Class of 2000. Hey. I'm old.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's get started. So the first good news thing is that, I've been working more and more on my PC that I built. And because I've been watching the 100 Baby Challenge on that BuzzFeed is doing, I decided to crack open The Sims again and start playing. I made a character. Her name is Lola Kane. And I uploaded her to I forget what it's called, but you can upload your characters on The Sims and people can download them. It's hashtagged GGNI if that's something that you're interested in. I think she's adorable. She's chubby. She's got, I can't remember her hair right now, but she's got a full sleeve tattoo. And she lives in the city in an apartment. It's a luxury apartment. And she writes for a living. And she just recently, well, not recently, because I've been playing the game for a bit. She adopted a daughter. And some weird stuff has gone on. So, you know, she's a single girl. She's living her life in the city. And there's also screenshots of her life on Twitter on Geeky Girls and I. So yeah, I've been having a blast with it, basically. She's been living her life. She's been making out with people. She woohooed with her neighbor. And he turned out to be a little possessive. Like, he would just come into the house and start yelling and be angry for no reason. She doesn't need that. So we made him mad, and like, it wasn't even a breakup because they were just hooking up. And so she started to like feel out this other guy, and he was really fine because she was at the gym working out and he was helping her. He was mentoring her. And so they started flirting, and he was like, "Oh, I'm married to this dude." And she was like, "Well, that will not stand." And so she broke them up, and they started dating, and they got engaged, and they got married, and they invited his ex-husband to the wedding, because that's the kind of drama I live for. I'm so just excited. The wedding was beautiful. I believe there's a picture of that on Twitter, and the little girl that she adopted played the piano at it. There were fireworks because I timed everything perfectly. That stuff is hard. Now, with all of this, I was fiddling around, and I streamed it on Twitch, which was pretty cool. I plan to stream more games in the future. Sometimes people reach out to me to try their video games, and I would like to start streaming those on Twitch. One of the problems that I ran into was that I streamed it, but I noticed when other people stream on Twitch, it leaves a video behind. So like, you can go back and look at the video. Mine didn't do that.
Oh.
Yeah, I have no video. Like, if you go to my Twitch page, and I'm Andewin on there, ANDEWYN, there's no evidence that I think you have
to like go in and save it and clip it and
see, I don't know any of that. I was just playing around, and my husband was like, "Please don't get us swatted." And like, I was blank for a minute, and I was like, "Swatted?" He's like, "Turn off the camera if you don't know what swatting is." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, give me a second. It's not something I think about on occasion." And I'm like, "Oh, swatted," when they call people. But there's a couple of things. Number one, I didn't have a headset on, so I wasn't talking to anybody, and plus there was nobody watching because it's The Sims. And number two, I don't have a camera. I think that I will eventually get one, but for right now, I'm good. Just people focusing on the game if they're wanting to watch. I'm going to do a little bit more research on what I chose to stream on or use. It was easy to set up, easy-ish. I don't really know what I'm doing though. So just need to work on that a little bit. And other Sims news, today, well, let's start. Last night, the Sims 4 page on Facebook dropped a really weird GIF. And it was of Sims smiling and looking basically like the Joker without the makeup. Like one of those wide smiles.
Yeah,
I saw that,
and probably on your page, honestly.
Yep.
And I really noped out of it like 3 times
because it looks bizarre, and it's nothing that I've seen before.
Yeah, and I was like, well, after the 3rd time of like trying to avoid it, I was like, okay, so maybe there's more to it. But then you click on the video, and there's absolutely nothing. They're just smiling and twitching.
And so also there are these people called Sims gurus, and I believe they work for The Sims. I'm not 100% sure, but if you look for Sim gurus on Twitter, they had all sorts of weird funky messages on their Twitter page. Okay. And there was one Sim guru who was like, "I don't know what's going on. I moved desks." These people are acting funny. I don't know. And it turns out it was, they haven't released it yet. February 26th, a new expansion pack comes out, and it's called Strangerville. And if you go to YouTube, there's a whole scene set up and everything. And I started cracking up because the first scene of the video is a girl sim, and she's throwing up, and then all of a sudden it's basically like her fingers and arms get muscle spasms, and they do that weird thing where your hands are when you get a cramp in your hand and it forces your fingers down and you can't pull them back up. Yeah, so that's happening to her hand, and then she does this weird bent back thing, and I'm like, that's how I feel 90% of the time. So is this a I'm miserable and old expansion pack? No. No, it's not. It gives me Roswell, New Mexico vibes. There's a lady with a colander on her head and lights wrapped around the colander, and they're solving a mystery. So I might have to pick this one up. I'm very frugal when it comes to the expansion packs because they're $40 a pop, and I'd rather buy clothes.
Clothes are very, very nice to have, especially in this never-ending winter.
It's cold, and I need pants. And so, and while we're talking about pants real quick, so this is completely off topic, but I bought some pants, and I bought them from Torrid, and shout out to Torrid because
hashtag not sponsored, but wish it was.
Not even sponsored, but wish it was. I'm short. I am short. And not only have they started making, short inseams more readily available, they now have extra short.
Wait, they do?
They have extra short in some of their pants. Yes. Now here's the thing. I order so infrequently that when I go to order, and I'm like, well, what if extra short is too short? And so I order short, and short always ends up being too long. And then I get irritated because I'm short. So short should fit.
Right. No, you're extra short.
Apparently.
That's what Torrid is trying to tell you.
Apparently. So, but shout out to them for having multiple inseams for us short people. And they have them for tall people too. So if you're plus size and tall or short, they got you. Not sponsored at all. Torrid, hit me up.
Yeah.
I'll fix your website. I'll fix your shipping. Supply chain command. We got... Okay. Anyway, moving on. So, blah. So that was our happy yay. Our next story is it's not as bad as the last story is going to be, but it's pretty out there. So what do you know about independent publishers?
Ooh. Not a lot.
Right. Okay. Not a huge deal. So apparently there's this kind of war in the publishing community. There's independent publishers, and then there's publishers like Penguin and things like that.
Right. Okay, yeah.
Right. So one of them currently has the popularity, and the other has the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are people out there getting published hardcore just through these independent publishers. Well, it came to the attention of some people that a young woman, and I don't know if this is her pen name or her real name, but it is Christine. It's either Christine or Christine Saruya has been plagiarizing. And she has been plagiarizing bigly. Okay, so people have gone through her books, and they have highlighted, and they are exact matches. She didn't change anything. She completely plagiarized from a bunch of books to her books, and it is an absolute mess. The list of authors who were plagiarized keeps growing, and I'm gonna give you some of these names. Like, I'm not a huge romance reader. I've explained on the show before, like, I read Twilight fan fiction, but I skip all the sexy parts because I have no interest in that at all. I'm just there for a story.
I like the sexy.
You know, most people do, and they look at me kind of funny when I'm like, oh, I just skim that and go on about my business. I don't need that.
Well, true. It's hard to write, especially for vampires, because you're so, I don't know. It's a hard thing to write because they're vampires and they're super powered. So you have to be very accurate about your placement and where they are. And yes, they can go from one end of the room to the other very, very fast. But I don't know. There's a lot of technicalities in there where me as a writer, I get kind of like, if you write sexy time, I need it all to be accurate.
Right. So let me read off this list of authors she's plagiarized. See if you recognize any of these names.
Okay.
Courtney Million, Tessa Dare, Bella Andre, Michelle Pillow, Lisa Kellypass, Loretta Chase, Christy Caldwell, Sarah McLean, Karen Marie Moaning, Anne Gracie, Kathy Williams, Carolyn Sparks, Gina Showalter, Carmen D'Souza, Victoria Alexander, Alice Murray, Cressley Cole, Lynn Graham, and Nora effing Roberts.
Oh, okay.
Right. You all here plagiarizing Nora Roberts? Like, really? That's what you want to do?
Quinzel has a theory. Go ahead.
Hold on to your theory, though. So, like, all of this is going down on Twitter under the hashtag copy paste Chris list. And so, like, I've read a couple articles. One of them is on smartbitchestrashybooks.com.
Go onto that website.
Right. Like, I used to read them back in the day. I haven't for a really long time, but I need to hop back on there. But they talk about it, and they talk about her and how all this unfolded on Twitter. Well, all this is unfolding, and all of a sudden she pops up on Twitter. Oh. She's like, I would never do this. I'm a lawyer.
Oh, well, you should have lawyered your way away from Twitter.
Right. So,
and should have not have said a thing.
So here's what everybody has thought has happened. And I think she may have admitted it. I'm not 100% sure. She has ghostwriters. And not only does she have ghostwriters, she has ghostwriters from Fiverr. Which, there's nothing wrong with Fiverr, not Fiverr. Oh, Fiverr. There's nothing wrong with Fiverr either. Eat your Fiverr.
Yeah, Fiverr's good for you. Raisin Bran.
Yes. But like my podcast art comes from Fiverr. You know, it's a great platform, but it just seems really odd to get a ghostwriter from there. But I'm not a writer, so I don't know.
Well, they probably just want to pay a lot less.
Right. So, but now... So I think she admitted to using a ghostwriter. They think the ghostwriter is the one that has plagiarized, and that ghostwriter is no longer on Fiverr.
Oh.
So not that this controversy has brought them out. It's just that, or shut them down. It's just they were shut down way before this.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm kind of curious to see how all of this unfolds. Now, and it's funny, and I'm going to link the article on the show notes, but apparently back in the day, there was another plagiarizer who once managed Blues Traveler.
Okay.
Well, they didn't plagiarize. They may have plagiarized, I don't know, but they bought their number one on the New York Times list. Like, they bought that ranking.
Okay.
So, but the whole thing, like, the sentence just killed me. We haven't gotten to, and the author wants to manage Blues Traveler territory yet, but that is definitely a new subterranean notch on the WTF scale. And like, I just lost it. I'm like, why would you lie about managing Blues Traveler? I enjoy a couple Blues Traveler songs. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Runaround is fabulous.
Oh, they do sing that. I was like, the one song. Yeah, okay. I know. I'm with you now.
Right. So, but Blues Traveler, really? Okay. Yeah. So, what's your theory?
You know how I am. So, I have this really weird thing about E.L. James. So, what's the girl name again?
Christiane Saruya.
And we're not sure if that's her real name or their pen name.
Correct.
So we've never seen her and E.L. James in the same room.
Oh my god.
So there's no way of confirming that they're not the same exact person.
But I mean, they're oh dear.
This is the same author that stole Twilight fan fiction.
She didn't steal it. She wrote it.
No, but she also took from other fan fictions while writing that fan fiction.
Okay, so fun fact about myself. I read 50 Shades of Grey before it was 50 Shades of Grey. I read it when it was like simple Master of the Universe. That's what it was called back then.
Right. One Shade of Twilight. Yes.
Right. And like, it was on twilighted.net. Like I told y'all, I read a lot of Twilight fan fiction. If I'm gonna read fan fiction, that's what it's gonna be. Like I've read like maybe 2 other fan fictions that are not Twilight. I like what I like. Fight me.
No, you're fine.
Right. But yeah, I don't remember her taking from anything else. I don't remember that controversy. In all honesty, I don't remember much about that time in my life. I was very confused why her inner person was doing salsa with merengue steps.
I mean, I should have actually researched this a little bit more before I said it on air. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, me and E.L. James, we have beef and we have never met.
And it's hell do you have beef with E.L. James?
Because I am a writer and I read 50 Shades of Grey. I read it. I read only 20 pages and I was like, are you serious? Is this for real?
It's
for real?
It's
because aside from the actual storyline that's problematic, there's a lot of grammatical errors and there's a lot of story building and there's just a lot of just like technical writing issues within 50 Shades of Grey.
Well, you can't put the grammatical errors and technical issues on her, Ricky Bobby. That's what editors are for.
She have no editor. She did get a better editor as far as what I've been told. Okay. As far as things went, but because of the storyline with the technicality and the maybe this girl shouldn't be dating this stalker, like that's not really like love. But if you was writing like a true crime story, then like, oh, you on it, like that's great. But like, like that would be if this was like true crime, like, hey, I just showed up at your job and I just started buying like ropes and stuff, and yeah, that would have been perfect. So but weird. She really, I don't know. I have a little bit of like side eye with her with that and the story building and stuff. So it does, eat away at my writer's soul.
Okay.
A little bit. So that's where a lot of my angst comes from. But when I kind of see things that, especially that are taken from either other stories or very trying to be like a plot, but it doesn't really make any sense in this universe, kind of like how Twilight doesn't really make sense to be 50 Shades of Grey, and we're still looking at it as lovely because yes, he was a vampire and that's a different story whatsoever. The point is, my theory is this girl's E.L. James.
We're gonna share that. I don't even know.
And E.L. James is like, the ghostwriter did it. The vampire did it.
It's Totes McGuts, the ghostwriter. Oh
no, gosh. I'm really only joking. I'm just.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Now you got me wondering. Holy crap!
Quinzel had a theory.
Oh my god!
Quinzel had a theory. And cut.
All right, so that is about it for all of our fun stuff. Before I forget, after all of this, Christiane Sarua deleted her Twitter account.
Okay, you're not proven to me that this is not E.L. James. Continue.
I mean, and it says a person named B commented on the original poster of all of this stuff, accusing her of the plagiarism. She commented on the original post saying they had worked as a ghostwriter for her and they weren't paid. And they said her work, which given to me, was a number of mismatched scenes that needed expanding, as she said. I took for granted that these were her own words and embellished as she requested, as this is how I work. I often help authors who are too close to their own book to get it in shape for publication. Now I can see that it's very possible those were plagiarized scenes and she was hoping a ghostwriter would change enough to make it unrecognizable.
Oh.
And then, so all of this started happening, I guess, yesterday. And then the updates today was that person named B. And then the person that posted the plagiarizing, like the original, accusation, also revealed on Twitter that 2 additional ghostwriters have independently contacted her, revealing the same details of Sarua's approach. So... Oh, and the list of plagiarized titles, so the list of books that she's plagiarized from, has hit about 30.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
So I will, like I said, I will put a link to this article in the show notes because it gives a lot of good information about all of this. It's a lot.
Yeah. You gotta just write some original shit. Like that's how you have to do it.
Yes. So now I'm gonna let you take lead on this. If you have kids that are listening, I wouldn't listen to this part in front of them. It's a lot, and I'm gonna start it off by saying that I am a newbie to con culture, things like that. I mean, I've read about it, but I haven't experienced a whole lot. I've been to Gen Con. That's the only con I've been to. And everybody was perfectly lovely, perfectly helpful, super friendly. Never had any issues. Although I'm an older demographic for cons, so I'm not going to have the issues that maybe somebody 15, 16 would have, because I'll punch you dead in your throat. So,
and I think there's something to be said about that, because you do give off a vibe of
I'll punch you dead in your throat.
Yeah, exactly that. And I've been on both sides of that. I'm fairly short. When I looked particularly girly, I actually was talking to somebody about this. I used to get hit on at gas stations all the time and be very nervous. And now that I kind of have dreads and wear more pajamas and puffy coats and care less about people and am very sleep deprived and angry, then I notice that it kind of happens less. And
oh no, I still get hit on and stuff, and I'm just like, I will punch you in your throat.
Well, it's like that, except that kind of hit on. I don't even want to say hit on, but like that.
Hey, ma, come here.
Where I'm a little scared that they might follow me home level being hit on. Like they won't take no for an answer level being hit on. Like that has changed as my demeanor
hey, ma,
and attitude.
Come here. Come here. Like, I'm married.
Hey,
can't you have friends?
Yeah.
No, I can't, because we will murder you and then feast on your skin. I like cracklins.
They'll be like, oh, hey, we talk about cracklins. Okay.
And I just give you like a dead eye stare. I don't even care anymore. Like, I'm like, Hannibal Lecter ain't got shit on me.
And they're like, okay,
Miss Lady, you out here doing your thing. You have a good day. You have a blessed day. As soon as they say blessed day, they're pissed.
Right. So. Yeah. The blessed day one is good. I mean, I don't know. I've So I can lead on this, but I will be also honest with you. It's a little triggering for me, so I haven't gotten into a lot of details with it because it's hard. Like even the article that was posted, I have it up right now, and I kind of glaze through it so that I don't put myself in a bad place.
I understand.
Because, I mean, this shit is real.
Right.
And probably what bothers me most, especially on the second thing that we'll talk about later with Twitch, it is so like common, like desensitized. Like, of course, like, you know, this guy messaged me and he asked me for nudes. Like, yeah, that happens all the time. Like, never read your filtered messages whatsoever. You know? And like, it is a common thing to happen, and you almost get just like desensitized to it. And it kind of sucks because when people come forward, they should be validated. Like, no, this is not okay. Not, yeah, this happens to everybody. Like, that's a problem that it happens to so many people. That is an absolute problem. And the fact that it happens and we don't do anything about it breeds this problem. Right. And it breeds it even more within the con community, that we're just like, oh, well, you know, he's at a certain stage, so, and he has girls following him, and there are people who are okay with it, and especially when they're young. Oh, especially when they're young.
Well,
like,
here, let's start at the beginning, because we're getting kind of into the weeds here.
Yeah, we are. Sorry.
So, you're okay. So go start with the first article, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so the first article, we posted this to our Facebook page. This is about Vic. I'm not as into anime either, so I'm kind of also terrible. But he does a lot of voice work for anime. And the title of the article is "One of anime's biggest voices accused of sexual harassment." And I have to kind of shake my head because I kind of have an issue with that title. But it is basically detailing a lot of not so great. I'm having actually like a hard time talking about it. Like,
do you want me to take over?
Yeah, I'm gonna have you take over.
All right. So here's what's going on. Vic, I've never seen the man because, you know, much like Quinzel, I haven't done much anime. I think I've done Spirit Away. That's about it. He does a lot of voice work, and basically you can tell the way that this article is going to go, because in the beginning of the article, let me just read the paragraph. Last summer, voice actor Vic Migoga, I could be pronouncing that wrong, I apologize, went into a booth with a few others to record audio for a video game. At one point, Mignoga, I am still pronouncing it wrong, asked the client who was overseeing the session if she was okay with his performance. When she didn't answer right away, he followed up with, "You know the old Latin? Or is it Greek? There's an axiom that says silence gives consent." So you can already tell where the article is going. Mm-hmm. Basically, he has sexually harassed numerous women. I don't believe, yes, there were kind of assaults. Like he's hugging people that don't want to be hugged. He kissed somebody that didn't want to be kissed. It's a lot, and a lot of these people didn't speak up because, number one, he was a powerful voice in that particular, you know, in the voiceover community. And he also has rabid fans that will dox the shit out of anybody that talks bad about him.
Which only, I'm just really going to speak on that real quick, which only really makes him look bad.
Right.
Because no one doxes somebody who, like, nobody goes after somebody in that manner who is innocent. Like, that's not how you would approach that situation. Like, hey, they've done nothing wrong, so let me ruin your life. Like, let me put your information out there. Like, it's just making it worse. So why would you even do that?
Right. And apparently this has been going on for a really long time. Stories about him have been circulating online for over 10 years.
Right.
There was or is a Tumblr blog called Dear Vic Mignogna. I don't know how to pronounce this man's name. Anyway, he is, it kind of paints a picture of a man who aggressively hugs, grabs, touches, kisses, and propositions women. Now, during a lot of this, he was also engaged. And in a couple of the stories within the article, you have women that try to like escape him by reminding him, you know, hey, you're seeing somebody, leave me alone. And that doesn't work. He's insatiable, I guess would be the word for it. And so here's my thing. Like I said, don't go to cons much. Gen Con was my first one. It was fine. I'm not the demographic that people like this go after. I'm short, I'm fat, I'm black, and I'm perpetually angry. So nobody's pretty much going to mess with me. If someone were to come up to me, upset, hurt, just been violated, I'm going to do whatever I can do to help this person out. And I hope that if you're listening, that you have somebody in your life that is willing to listen like that, or you are somebody who, much like me, is short, fat, black, you know, kind of unapproachable. And you're willing to step in and help these people out. Please stop assaulting people. Just stop. Why is this a thing? I know that we talk about Hello from the Magic Tavern a lot, but one of the things that I want to reiterate about that is I went to the live show, and before we even took pictures, they made sure that they asked before they touched me. And like, I laughed a little at the time, but you know, they pointed out, you know, hey, some people don't want to be touched and we want to respect that. Why can't everybody be that respectful? Why is this a thing?
It's because it's so normalized and so like, I hate it all together. Like,
I know.
And I'm just going to back up a little bit because, you know, you talk about like being unapproachable, and I feel like I have the opposite problem. I'm short. I look like I'm about 16 years old. I'm extremely social. So I love talking to people. And I know I'm talking about this a little bit on air and without getting into any detail. That has caused a lot of issues for me because, like, Leslie, if I meet you, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, let's sit down, let's have lunch, let's talk about this, let's fangirl.
And that's fine. I can handle that. But
right,
if some random person coming up to me, I'm probably gonna be like.
But I feel when we're having a conversation and I'm excited with the wrong person, then they take that as like, oh, like she, you know, she wants me, and she, you know, you're asking for it because we're talking about Fall Out Boy and you're really excited. And I'm like, no, I just want to talk about Fall Out Boy. Like, I did not give you consent to touch me, or, you know, if you wanted to exchange numbers with me, I didn't say send me pictures of your dick. Like, I don't understand how one went to the other. And they're like, well, you were talking with them and I was like, yeah, I'm social with everybody. Like,
and see, like, I'm polar opposite. I'm not very sociable. And the only thing that I can crystal clear remember that somebody, you know, touched me and I did not want to be touched, was I was in Paris. I was in the Eiffel Tower. I was with a bunch of Japanese tourists. The elevator started to go up. One of the Japanese tourists freaked the hell out and like grabbed a hold of me and just started hugging me.
Is he still alive?
Oh, he's fine. He was literally scared.
Oh, okay.
He was literally scared. His friends made him go on it, and they were trying to explain that to me as I was trying to like unspackle him from me. And I remember being like, that's fine, that's okay, but you can't just grab people. I will throw you off the Eiffel Tower. I don't care that there's netting around it. So, but he apologized and we moved on. I haven't really I haven't had an issue with this, but I understand feeling uncomfortable, and I've seen it in people, and I have grabbed up people that, are you okay? Are you all right? Come over here, hide behind me. I will bite them. So
I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
I needed you in many instances, let me tell you, because that's why it's so hard for me to read these articles, because I've been through that. And I guess because we're so desensitized, we feel like if it's not a full, like if he doesn't murder you,
right,
it's not a big deal. It's like, oh, he hugged you and you told him not to. That's not a big deal. It is a big deal.
And see, that was something that like I had to think about for a second, because I'm like, oh, she got hugged. And then I flashed back to that Eiffel Tower instance where that man was holding on to me for dear life, and I didn't know if he was trying to rob me or kill me. So
yeah, I've dealt with in my very first job, I was maybe 23. I was in corporate America. It was great. And there was a man there twice my age, and he would always say, "Where's my hug?" And I worked the front desk. So on top of that, I had to be friendly and say, "Hello, how are you doing?" And he would one of those people who would stand there and like kind of talk to me forever. And I was kind of like, I have work to do. He's like, "Oh, okay. Like, yeah, you want to meet me down the cafe and have lunch?" And I'm thinking,
oh my gosh,
I don't really want to. I mean, it's our general cafeteria. And so he'd be like, "Oh, so when are you going to lunch?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't really know. It just depends on the workload," knowing that I go at the same time every time. Right. And he would wait for me to go down there. And when he would hug me, because he'd be like, "Oh, you want to, let's hug it up, and then he tried to play that we're Black people, we got to stick together in this corporate environment." I'm just, and I'm 23 and I'm in this job, and he wouldn't wait for me to say yes. He would just come in and do it. And so of course I'm like kind of frozen, like, and he would, once he sensed my uncomfortableness, it's almost like he went for it more. And I went to somebody who said, "Hey, this guy like hugs me a lot and I don't really like it." And they were like, "Well, I mean, did he touch you? Did he touch your breast? Did he do anything like that?" And I was like, "Well, no, I don't really like that he hugs me." And they were like, "Oh, well, that's not really that big of a deal. Like, maybe he's just lonely. Maybe you should just give him a hug." And I was just like, I don't want to, though. So I was in that situation where I was very young and I was very confused. And now that I'm older, it's like he was definitely taking advantage of that situation, like constantly hugging me and like hugging me for a very long time. Like he very much knew what he was doing and was working within the confines of what he could and couldn't do. And that's what I see in this situation with Vic, is like he's almost like just working within this situation what he can't get away with, just enough so he can essentially get his jollies. And I'm sorry to say, like, he's a fucktard. Can I say that?
Yeah, I'll just mark this as explicit. We're fine.
Whoopsie.
That's
yes,
fine.
it is, because based on what we're talking about.
Right.
Anyway, but yes.
And see, like I've had the front desk situation, but my desk was wide enough that, nobody could get past it unless I wanted them to. And 2, it was the general public I was dealing with, so they're not gonna ask to hug me. Like, the dude was creepy, but like the creepiest thing he did was give us homemade beef jerky out of his pockets.
I don't know why that's so hilarious, but it is.
It is really weird. And that man's probably dead now because he was old when I worked there. But yeah, he'd be like, I just made it. And like would slap a pile of beef jerky, like unwrapped from his pocket onto the desk. And we'd be like, thanks. Jerky. He's like, nothing but the best for my girls. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Goodness. Thank you. Question mark.
All right. So
before we get to the second one, I do want to say my biggest issue with this, and this is not to take Vic off the hook by any means, but I don't really want to re-traumatize anybody by going through all of the things that he's done and said and how he's went about it.
If you want to see that information, I will also have a link to that story in the show notes.
Right. Yeah. So my criticism for right now is to the cons.
Yeah.
Because one con specifically that I was monitoring announced him as the guest months ago. And I shouldn't just say this one con because I'm pretty sure other ones did it too. Mm-hmm. And people were already commenting, hey, do you know, there's this instance and there's this, and this guy is known for this. You have children at your cons. Hey, like, do you really want, like, there was a wealth of information that they were given.
Right.
And some cons in particular did not make a move until they saw other cons start to drop him. And to me, as much as I want to be like, yes, they did the right thing, it's like, this is a money move. Like, oh, well, if we don't take him off, we might actually lose people. So let's finally do it. Not, we did this out of the goodness of our hearts. We did this because we are making a stand and we believe this is wrong.
Right.
And that's why I am upset, because this is going to perpetuate the same thing going on in cons. Unlike, I've been going to cons for a while, for a few years now. I didn't go when I was younger because that was like frowned upon. And then I met my husband, then boyfriend, and got introduced to cons, and now I'm everywhere. This is a problem that's almost as big as Vic. Like, this is an issue with guests. This is an issue with con goers. This is an issue with volunteers. Like, and if you go and report these things, it's almost like meh, unless it hits a big enough impact, unless this is something that could hit them in their wallets. Gotcha. And that is not the right way to go about this. That is not going to stop harassment from happening. And if all you're concerned about is money and all you're concerned about is attendance, then I feel like, then what was the point of you taking him off then? I mean, if that's all you cared about is you wanted people to go, because there were plenty of people. And I tried to look for the post of the one con that I was looking at right before they canceled him, where people were going back and forth. And there were a lot of people that were like, I'm excited to see him. I want to see him. If you're so concerned about him, just don't get in his line. I don't know what the problem is. And so it burns me up when people just make a good decision for a bad reason. And so, like, while Vic's actions are deplorable and while it shouldn't have even gotten this far, I feel like the fact that it was just a knee-jerk reaction to money or potential clients they might lose doesn't really even solve the issue. It doesn't tell me that this con cares about my safety or sexual harassment on any level. Right.
Man, this sucks.
Quinzel got passionate. Wow.
Yes. Yes. Can you handle this next story? Because this is rough.
It's rough, but you know what? I had a bad day, and I was like, I'm going into this podcast with Deadpool jammies, and this pissed off attitude is what y'all need right now. So yes, let's go ahead.
All right, go for it.
Woo-hoo. So let me try to pull this back up again, because you sent it to me earlier. Yeah. And what's really jacked up, so this is the one that involves Twitch. I don't think I met this dude at con. I hope not.
I don't think you can miss him. He has like a streak of like colorful hair. Well,
girl, that was everybody.
I just realized that as soon as it came out my mouth. I don't know.
that was every single person at TwitchCon. Yeah. Sorry, I'm like, my internet's behind and it's lagging because it's like, girl, you don't want to talk about this.
No.
But it needs to be said. So they didn't post his stream name on here, did they?
I mean,
I'm looking in the article now and I have his government name,
right.
but I don't have his streaming name in here. His Twitch. Okay. So Thomas Chung, he is a well-known Twitch streamer. He plays a lot of WoW, World of Warcraft. He was part of a child sex sting 2 weeks ago. Well, more than 2 weeks.
Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah, Super Bowl weekend. He was one of them people that got arrested because, you know, how police are. They're like, you know, every other day of the year, we're kind of like, whatever. But Super Bowl weekend, we're not playing. We're cracking down. Okay, great.
Yeah,
we could have used you all year, but.
He sent explicitly sexual messages to a law enforcement official posing as a 14-year-old girl, asking her to meet up with him for condomless sex. Ugh.
Yep. So yeah, he was among 21 people caught in the sting in Atlanta, Georgia. And while, I mean, I guess it's an episode of To Catch a Predator. So again, we're dealing with people that are like, you know, whatever, not that big of a deal. He is another person that has a, what's the word that I'm looking for? He's done this several times. He's done this a lot and he's sought it out.
Yeah.
And again, women have spoke out. People have been like, meh. And again, this dude was probably at TwitchCon and I'm hoping that I missed him by a mile.
Yeah, like at one point there was an instance of he was hanging out with somebody and it was a young woman and he asked her to come back to his room to see something game related. Mm-hmm. And then once he got her there, started trying to like put the moves on her. And she was like, you know, I gotta go get my medication.
Yeah.
But what he did was he paid for an Uber or something to drive her to get her medicine and then to drive her back. And then while she was in the car, she was like messaging friends, SOS, this, that, and the other. And then she got back and he kept bugging her for sex. And it was bad. Eventually one of her friends messaged her and she's like, oh, gotta go. See you later. So another girl wound up in the psychiatric ward because of all of this. It's so bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to that part because I don't think I actually got that far without, you know, sobbing a little bit.
Right.
Because I think people underestimate the effect that this has on you. I think people like to focus on, well, why did you go to his room? Why did you talk to him? Why did you take it this far? And again, to me, especially meeting somebody on Twitch, you're thinking we're going to talk about games. Like we have a mutual interest. This is what we're going to talk about. Right. Like it is no different than me and you, Leslie, talking about The Sims. Like if you were like, let me show you this, this part in The Sim.
Yeah.
Let me show you this 100 baby challenge. And let me show you where I'm at right now. I'm absolutely going to come over and see that. Like that's what I'm thinking. And people who are predators know this. They know that we are going into this thinking something else. That's the problem. They're not thinking that this is consensual, and that's what they try to say later. But they're not thinking that. They're thinking if I can get her to my room with the pretense of we're going to talk about games, or I'm going to help her get more followers, or this or that, then maybe once I get them isolated, then I can put the moves on them. And that's not fair. It is not fair to constantly trick people into doing that. And our community in general needs to make a stance and that. But instead, we just were like, oh, she shouldn't have went there. And you also have to think about being 14, 15 at the time.
See, like I'm like I said, I'm older, so this wasn't a thing when I was 14 and 15. Like, we had AOL chat rooms. Mm-hmm. And even in I don't know if it's this article or not, but an article I was reading, the guidelines that people dole out and would like kids to follow doesn't really, it's not really applicable to kids now. We were told, don't talk to anybody online that you don't know, and don't even give them your name because they'll find you. Don't give them your first name because they'll find you, and they'll come and they'll kidnap you.
Right, yeah. And
stuff like that. Well, all of these apps are set up so that you're talking to strangers on a daily.
Yeah.
You may not be telling them where you live and stuff, but it's a completely different world, and the rules and guidelines haven't been adjusted to show that, sadly. And I don't know what can be done at this point. I'm very fortunate in the fact that right now, Geeky Baby, all she wants to do is bang on a keyboard and look important like Mama and Dada. and type away
and dance to That's My Girl.
Oh my god,
that's my girl. That's
and
my
that
girl.
And the quote Backbeat Boys.
The Backbeat Boys.
Hold on, can I listen to my special Backbeat Boy music? Yes you can. NSYNC is better though. Who? Shut up.
Get out. I as someone who has had the best of both worlds, so I had AOL and I had Don't You Care, but I also grew up not very needing someone to talk to, so I didn't necessarily want to give somebody my address and meet up with them, but I might give them personal information of how I'm feeling and things like that. And if that could work, if everybody on both sides of that communication is just you or me, we're just talking. There's so much that if you are a bad person looking to do bad things, that you can take that information and manipulate somebody to get what you want. That somebody is sad, somebody is hurting, or somebody's just here to have fun.
Right.
You're going to take advantage of that because that is your intention. And so it is hard to make a catch-all that would allow normal people to be able to interact in the way that we do now, and then also keep away those manipulative people. And I would say that Twitch does a good job if you do it publicly. You can't just hop on somebody's stream and just be like, hey, I want to show you my dick. You can't.
Oh dear.
You can't do that. Twitch is very good about they will absolutely shut stuff down. They mean their community guidelines. It is harder once you connect with somebody, once you're private messaging somebody.
Or in a Discord, which this talks about a lot.
Yeah, definitely the Discord as well. So yeah, the Discord is pretty big. So again, if you are a bad person with bad intentions, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't figure out a way to make it work. I just don't know what it is right now. And that's probably because I don't have bad intentions. I do genuinely just want to talk about games and Fall Out Boy and food. That's all I want. But if somebody wanted to manipulate me, they could be like, hey, Quinzel, did you know that Burger King is having a new burger that's going to probably kill you? Do you want to meet up and eat it? And I'll, help you videotape it and post it to the blog? Sure.
Oh my God.
Of course I'd be absolutely. Yeah, that's my thing. Eating things that would kill me. But again, if they have bad intentions, that is how they would lure me in. And I can't even imagine being a 16-year-old or being a teenager as I once was. Also sad, also looking for just friendship.
Just somebody to talk to, somebody to relate.
Yeah, and you're not, even if they're trying to entice you with sex, you're ultimately thinking, I just I just want somebody to relate to. Like, I just like that this person makes me feel like they're giving me attention and they make me feel good. And again, when you're younger, and especially when these are your first experiences dealing with manipulative people, I have, you know, many years of dealing with this at this point, so I know how to nope out very early.
Right. We're of an age where, like, I mean, of an age and of experience that, oh no, I gotta go.
Yeah, and we don't care anymore. Like, or I don't say we don't care. I don't care. But like, if somebody's like, oh, you're just being rude, or oh, you're being mean, like, I would kind of feel like, oh, I guess he wasn't trying to, like, maybe I just jumped the gun. Now I'm just like, yeah, I'm a bitch, I know. Yeah,
right. It's the difference between like the gas station guys that we were talking about before, like actually stopping to talk to them and, you know, keeping walking and threatening to, you know, eat their skin.
Right.
So,
which, but you also have to understand, like, in a way, to get to the point where you are that tough person. Like, sometimes for some people, especially for me, like, things just have to happen to get you there. Like, these women now, they're like, hell, I'll probably never leave my fucking house. Like,
right.
I will stay at home. And it sucks that they have to be so cautious because of things like this. And then the person who put them in this situation isn't even held accountable really until it gets something completely tips it over. Right. And just like this, like, it happened, he happened to do it during the Super Bowl. He happened to be confident enough to do it at a really
which is dumb as shit, because let's talk about this for a second, because the Super Bowl is like one of the number one events that trafficking of people happens at. Like, so there's always a cavalcade of cops. The Super Bowl was held here a few years ago, and like, my friends were all up in arms because I almost got into a fist fight with a drunk lady.
Ooh.
But like, they weren't upset about the fact I was getting in a fist fight. They were upset that there was a cop on the corner eyeballing us. I don't care. I would have curb stomped that hoe. But it didn't happen because she kind of like wandered out in the street and sort of got like gently hit by a taxi.
Okay.
There was a lot going on that night, and
there's a lot of things that just kind of go in your favor. I hope you know this by now, Leslie. Like, it just kind of works out for you.
Her friends would her friends initially tried to pull her away, but then she called like my husband a fat ass, and then that's when I jumped in. I called her all sorts of names, like a Sacagawea bitch. I'm like, what the? I was so mad. Ugh. But like, she's like, you can't talk to me that way, and I'm like, you're a hoe. And she started to wander off and slowly wandered in the street, and like the taxi stopped, but it just tapped her, and she was like, you don't know me. I'm like,
God.
Oh God. But anyway, yeah, like, cops are out thick during that like, it's a trafficking thing, because people think that there's so many people around, things aren't going to be noticed. There's all these parties, and of course they're going to be scandally you know what I'm trying to say. It's late here.
Less closed people.
Yeah, so it's nothing to smuggle like a woman or person or two past. He was dumb. He was dumb for this. Don't try to have sex with minors, but especially do not try to have sex with minors during a giant event.
But I think that just speaks to how comfortable and how accepted a lot of the behavior is, especially in the con community.
Yeah.
Because even going back to Vic, I mean, people are still going to hire him.
Oh yeah,
they're still gonna bring him to cons.
Or what's gonna happen is the same thing that always happens, and they talk about this in the second article. Like, it won't blow over, but it'll kind of get brushed aside for a little bit, and the minute that it gets brushed aside, like, he'll start finding work again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it escalates, and then as soon as it kind of dies down or the next thing happens and people are directing their attention to that, then it's like, oh, well, I could just creep my way back in here. No, you can't, Bill Cosby. Stay exactly where you are, okay? That's a different podcast. I'm sorry.
Did you know he was pretending to be Dr. Huxtable while he was in prison?
What?
Yeah, like he was giving medical advice to prisoners.
Now, okay, so this is another issue of mine, especially with famous people.
Giving medical advice?
Okay, well that, but we like to think like how people view Bill Cosby, and we'll talk about R. Kelly on a different day. But
not
like,
today, Satan.
Not today. But I'm coming for that ass. But he thinks it's like when people are defending people, they are defending their character. They are defending Dr. Huxtable. He's a dad, and like you are defending somebody who is not even real. Like you are thinking that person that you see on TV or that you see in the movies or whatever, you are thinking that is your real personality. That is a made up. As much as I would love to believe some of these characters are real.
And even before we found out about these accusations, he was not a nice man at all.
Right, yeah.
Like, he was not... Go just Google articles about Bill Cosby before this happened. He was not a nice man. He blamed crime on the sagging pants of black men. Like, what?
Like, okay. That's why you're in jail now.
Yeah, so but
anyway, but it's the same thing with these guests that come to cons and things like that. People like to think what they see on TV and what they see in media, that's that real person, and that's what they're defending when they're like, Vic would never, this person would never, that person would never. How do you don't even know this person?
Right.
Dr. Huxtable is not your daddy. He has not paid a cent to you. He
did not support you through Hillman. He supported Denise through Hillman.
Right. But we just gonna let Dr. Huxtable give medical advice and not say anything.
Right. Well, I mean, he got hit with a chicken patty too. There is that.
That was funny. That, that was karma at its sweetest.
Like, I had tears in my eyes. Like, I had to bust out my inhaler and everything.
Oh God, don't, because I'll start laughing again.
Like, how are you just gonna throw chicken patties? Like, that was a perfectly good chicken patty.
Oh, well, it probably wasn't. Wasn't perfectly good.
It probably came from like Gordon's food service, and I mean, Gordon's good food. They got like the school pizzas.
Well, I'm thinking if they threw it, then, maybe it was a little cold. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not going to throw a piping hot. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is you're defending what you think you know of somebody in media. And that is about the same level of smart as you going to solicit underage people at the Super Bowl.
At the Super Bowl.
At the Super Bowl.
Like, I didn't, solicit anybody, but like I almost got into a fight, like I said. I mean,
yeah, and then God stepped in and was like, you know what, let me just direct this woman toward a car.
Let Cam gently kiss that woman.
So Leslie does not go to jail. Like, let me just gently
She was like, let me in the car, and the guy driving the car was like, is she with you? No, I was about to beat that hoe's ass. Oh my God. I wonder if I don't even know her name. Her friends abandoned her because she was so drunk. The Super Bowl, is a rough time for everybody.
So, but again, like, if you are in a position where you're not getting in trouble, you have people that will defend you because they love, the character you portray. They love the persona that you give off. You start to get comfortable. I mean, it's at a very base level. It's kind of like a toddler that you don't discipline. They're going to keep doing it, even if they know it's wrong. If you're not going to hold them accountable, right. They are absolutely going to draw over your entire house if you never say anything.
Exactly.
You're just like, just do it. Then yeah, you will have crown and possibly poop on your walls. Like, it's going to escalate. It's going to get bad.
Ew.
So, well, I'm just saying, you know how kids are. Like, oh,
I
you don't say nothing about that? Yeah, okay. It's so, I just don't understand. I'm not going to defend somebody that I especially, I'm so angry about it because he ain't done nothing for me. I ain't got nothing to be able to say. Like, I also, tell me if you want to go here or not, and I'll stop. Do you want to talk about, I need to see both sides. I need to see.
I don't. I'm not seeing a goddamn thing.
Let's just put on our shades.
I'm just blind as a bat. They did it. There's evidence that they did it. The LEO, I can't even form complete sentences anymore.
I feel like if you are a victim, I'm honestly more on your side than anything.
I'll always be on your side. Always.
It is very. Let's just say I've been there, done that. Like, I have been in that position where, why didn't you say anything? I don't know. I froze. Why did you go up to his room? It's like, I don't know. He said he had Fall Out Boy tickets, and I really like Fall Out Boy. That's never happened to me, by the way.
Okay.
But I really do like Fall Out Boy. That would probably get me, kidnapped. Honestly, I love Fall Out Boy.
They had Joey Fatone in one of their videos, and it made me very happy. And Chris Kirkpatrick.
Which one was this? Long song title or short song title?
Impossible. They're in a toy store.
Oh, Irresistible. Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm such a fan. I knew it all.
Like Demi Lovato's there, yeah. Joey Fatone, and Chris Kirkpatrick's the manager.
Irresistible.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that one. And probably, I'm gonna say right now, I know last week I said I was in love with the Wizard. I'm in love with Patrick Stump as well. It would never be in a situation where we would be in the same room together, probably after this podcast, because he'd be like, ugh, Jesus, it's me. But yes, I love Fall Out Boy. However, again, we spend a lot of time nitpicking, and I think we nitpick because we don't want to address the reality that this is a problem. That's really what it's coming from. When you're kind of desperate for something, it's like when you're with somebody who's cheating on you and you don't want to recognize that they're cheating, and you're kind of like, well, he likes to go get Burger King at 11 o'clock at night. It's his thing. Or, oh, well,
nobody needs chicken fries that much.
Yes, exactly.
No.
Like you're nitpicking it because you're not really wanting to face it, and because facing it honestly kind of jacks you up. Like, us who realize that this is a problem, yeah, we're a little bit messed up by it because we know that it's reality, but until we face it, then we can't get anywhere. And I wish I had an answer to end this podcast as far as what to do. I do think that Khan should take the time to look at their guests and to hold themselves accountable before they think, well, is this going to cost me money or not? That would make me believe more in my con, and that would actually make me feel more comfortable because I have press passes to cons. Mm-hmm. I would rather go the avenue of let me set it up through the con for me to do an interview with you, rather than kind of doing my aggressive interviewer thing, like, hey, do you want to sit down and interview today? Because that's usually the best way to get somebody.
Maybe I should just do a con. It would just be me, Succulents.
Hello from the Magic Tavern.
Two Squares Podcast. Hey, y'all. In Sync, any of the members I could possibly get.
And Fall Out Boy.
Okay, we can throw them in there too.
Okay. I'm going. How much is it?
And like cheese plates. That's
oh my god. And crackers too with the cheese.
No, you need crackers with a cheese plate.
Oh god.
Cheese.
I like this con.
I mean, we're all like sit in a circle, and like I can't rent out the J-Dub or anything like that, so maybe we'll have it at like a park.
So it's a family reunion, basically.
It's basically we'll have like the family reunion T-shirts. I know people that sell those things. Maybe I can get a good discount.
Oh yes. Okay, I'm coming to this con. And that's the thing. If anybody comes and they're trying to harass somebody, all you gotta do is go, like, Leslie's who you go to. Like, somebody bothering you, go to Leslie.
I'll get some hot dogs from Costco. It'll be great. I'll even like spring for some like vegetarian hot dogs too.
Ooh,
right.
Veggie dogs are the best. Okay. Actually, this is
like I have the family membership to Spotify, so there'll be constant music. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Oh man, I'm actually liking this. I think this solves our problem, honestly.
There will be no panels or anything like that. It'll just be like Chris Kirkpatrick sitting on the ground at like the park. You get yourself some cheese from the cheese plate, get you a hot dog, and just kind of chill with him.
Oh, put the little cheese cubes on the hot dog and they kind of melt a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Oh, I like this. I like this already. Yeah, no. Melting cheese on a hot dog is way better than dealing with... We didn't even get into, like, the con goers that, like, harass you if you're, dressed as Harley or anything that's not, like, covered from head to toe. We didn't even do that.
We won't even go there because you know what? It is beyond past my bedtime. So we'll wrap this shit up.
There's a bedtime?
I'm usually in bed by... Okay, so true facts. Geeky Baby goes down at 7:30. I'm usually lying in bed by 8 and I just lay there till like 9:30 and then I'm passed out.
You what?
Yeah, it's 10:35 now. So
do you know that my baby doesn't go to sleep until 8 and then he usually screams and then I lay down and then he wakes up again and
nope.
I've been sleep deprived for close to 2 years now.
Geeky Baby has slept through the night since she was 3 months old.
I hate you so much.
Most people do. It's all right. But yeah,
this is why you're so much better emotionally than me, because you have sleep. Like, this is why you're like, Quinzel, why are you bothered by these things? Because I'm tired.
Yeah, no. She has slept through the night consistently. Like, I was sad when she went from 2 naps to 1, but that's about it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she naps. She has a good hearty 2-hour nap during the day, and then she goes to bed at 7:30, wakes up about 6:45. On weekends, she goes to bed at 8 o'clock so that she's not up at the crack of dawn, so that I can actually sleep longer. Yeah.
You suck.
I know.
I'm so angry.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Like we were
that's why I was so confused. Like when I came back to work, they're like, "Oh, is the baby keeping you up?" I'm like, "What y'all talking about? She sleep. She been asleep.
Like, we've been talking about some pretty heavy stuff, but this is the thing that's gonna make me really
just
sad.
Take you over the edge. Yeah, no, she's never been a screamer. Like, occasionally,
she doesn't scream.
No, like you tell her, "Yo, it's time for bed," and we get a ooh. I'm like, "I'll see you in the morning," and she's like, "Okay," and then that's the end of it.
He has screamed for 8 hours straight.
Well, she was sobbing for like 30 minutes, like while she's in bed. Like we hear the baby monitor, so we walked in there, and because like she'll tell you, like she knows where the baby monitor camera is in her room, and so she'll look at it and be like, "I gotta pee," if she has to go to the bathroom. But she's just sobbing uncontrollably, and we opened the door and was like, "What's wrong with you?" And she's like, "I don't want to watch Cars."
Same, girl. Same. I feel you.
And I'm like, "Well, you don't have to. I just Miss Rhonda thought that you might like it because you like airplane shows." I love that song. Shout out to Rascal Flatts. I had a crush on the blonde dude like in the early 2000s because I worked overnights in like group homes for people, and like after you clean the house, there's nothing to do as long as your person doesn't get out the bed. And so like the only music videos that would be on like at 4 a.m. were country music videos. And so I was like, yeah, I have a crush on Rascal Flatts, the blonde one. I don't know his name.
Life is a highway. Lock up and those sexual harassers.
Yes.
Lock them all up. Put them under the jail with Bill Cosby.
And his fake Cliff Huxtable diagnoses.
What you gotta do? No, what you gotta do is stay right where you at.
Yes. Yeah, far away.
I diagnose you to life.
Okay, so that is the end of our show. I will have links for everything that we talked about in the description, except for, your baby sleeping, because I don't even know how that happened. I just woke up one morning and she had slept 8 hours, and I was like terrified she was like dead, but she was perfectly fine. She was looking at me like, "What up, yo?"
so much. Well, good night. I'll be up in 2 hours.
Oh, that's awful. No, we don't even have that when she's sick.
My God. Now you know why I'm an emotional wreck.
She like throws up and then falls asleep in her puke, and then I wake up next morning and I'm like, "What is all this?" She's like, "I threw up." I'm like, "You didn't call anybody?" She's like, "No, I went back to sleep." Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, she don't care. She's her mama. No. She sleeps through everything.
No, he sleeps through nothing. Help me.
I don't know what to tell you. Like, she got my genes. I sleep through everything.
Yeah, okay, true. Yeah. Well, as long as Bill Cosby is locked away, then everything's right.
Yes, there we go. All right, guys. Talk to you next week.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Geeky Girls Night In is brought to you by me, Leslie. You can find me on Twitter at Geeky Girls and I, on Facebook at Geeky Girls Night In, or in your backyard, strumming dulcet tones on a mandolin, serenading you sweetly. Feel free to shoot me a message if you have something geeky going on that you want announced on the show. You can find written musings by me, Quinzel, or Melissa at geekygirlguide.com. Like the show? Would you like to buy me a cup of coffee? Consider donating to my coffee. That's ko-fi.com/geekygirlsni. Want to send me or the other girls some snail mail? You can reach us at P.O. Box 90232, Indianapolis, Indiana 46290. Feel free to leave a review on iTunes or on the Facebook page. I'll read new reviews, good or bad, on the show. Music is by Makai Beats. Until next time.